What's up, guys? What's happening? Good to see everybody. Pleasure. We got Jimmy in the house tonight. We'll give Jimmy an intro in a minute. Mikey, what's the word?
Chilling, man. Excited to be here with you guys, man.
Yeah,
Always
man.
fun.
Always. Jimmy, what's happening, man? It's a pleasure to have you, my friend.
Not much going on. Good to be here with you guys.
All right, good. Without further ado, let's jump in it. Let's do this. Jimmy, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's tuning in, whoever catches us right now, today, tomorrow, or next Tuesday, we got with us tonight a special guest, somebody that I've gotten to know a little bit, and I can tell he's our kind of guy, likes to break chops like I do, but his story is even better than the guy himself. Good guy, and we're going to get to know him a little bit better tonight. We've got with us tonight my man, Jimmy The Crease. Jimmy, what is the good word, my friend?
Well, I guess it's freedom.
That's usually
Heck yeah.
Being out of prison 15 months, this is the longest I've been out.
Yeah. Now that you say that, Mikey, I didn't even notice. I didn't realize you're only home that short a time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man.
So that could add to the litany, which I'll make it painless tonight. That could add to the litany of questions or things we can conversate about. But wow, welcome home, brother. Long overdue. And man, I'm glad I getting to know you and got to know you a little bit. You're
Absolutely.
a gentleman, and believe me, it's a pleasure to have you here tonight. So let's just jump right into it, if you don't mind.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, Mikey, you good to go? Put your seatbelt on. Here we go. All right, Jimmy, I'd like to,
Yes.
I think it's been out there. You did some. Whoever doesn't know, we're going to get into what you served time for and how long you did, and some of the mob powerhouse alleged bosses of the past you've done a lot of time with. I don't care if it's a day or 10 years or 5, whatever. You did time with some big names.
Right.
Where I'd like to start. Can we talk? Because I don't know if I got it all, and it's really for the audience out there, whoever comes across this. Where are you originally from? Can you give us some background of your youth going into?
Yeah.
You want to take us right up to the years. You know what I mean?
I'm from right outside of Dayton, Ohio. A little suburb. Born and raised there. Had divorced parents at a young age. My dad was awesome. He was a bookie, so I kind of grew up into sports and everything. On my mom's side, she was very abusive, and what was kind of strange is I'm the baby of 12 kids, but I'm my dad's only child. So He married into 11 kids. And
that's a special man right there. Say no more.
It is. And they got divorced when I was a baby, so I kind of went back and forth as a kid. And then when I got into junior high, all my older brothers and sisters, they were already out of the house. So then I went over to my dad's full time and lived through like junior high and high school.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. I'm from New York City. Mikey's a Texas guy. Dayton, Ohio. What I do know about Dayton, Ohio, they're sports guys. John Gruden. There's some I don't know if you follow sports. I guess it sounds like you do. Maybe at some one point.
Sean McVay's from Dayton.
Yeah, Sean McVay. That's a very football.
Yeah.
And Sean McVay's grandfather. We can make that a whole other topic. So, were you a wild kid? Like, how were you as a kid? You know what I mean? Were you in the street? Were you not?
No. I started drinking in high school. We'd go out on the weekends, just like every other high school kid, go to parties. Never touched a drug. My dad, he wasn't strict. He kind of gave me a free rein. His whole thing was that if I was ever out and I was too drunk to drive, just call him. And then he'd have somebody pick me up. He said he wouldn't be mad. He said he'd be happier I called him as opposed to driving. So, I mean, it was just a real simple life. I played sports all through high school, football, baseball. I boxed a little bit. So it was just like a typical suburb high school. I went to Wayne
regular
High School.
kid, yeah.
And Wayne High School's pretty big in like Huber Heights, Ohio. Actually, the coach of Notre Dame now went to Wayne
Brian
High School.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Brian Kelly?
No, Marcus Freeman.
Oh, Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman. That's
Yeah,
right. Kelly's
he
in
went to
LSU.
Wayne
That's
High
right.
School. Kirk Herbstreit went to another high school in our area. They was rivals. So
Yeah, it's a lot of the football. Sounds like a football town. That's
it
for
was.
sure.
I
Right,
mean,
Mike?
there, mid Ohio. It was football central.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, I just wanted to try to give people an idea about what they developed.
It was just a typical. After high school, I kind of got into the bar scene a little bit. Still, it was just beer drinking.
Yeah, that was it. Nothing crazy. Yeah.
Going to the clubs.
Yeah.
I had never touched a drug in my life.
Yeah.
And then I got married to somebody I shouldn't have. You know, I fell in love with
that. Yeah.
I fell in love with big hair and big boobs. And then as soon as we got married, the hair got flat and she wore turtlenecks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get back. I promise you, and for anybody out there listening, Mike, we're gonna get back to the big boobs and the big hair. I promise. We're gonna get back to that. But let's go a little further. So, for anybody that doesn't know, we're gonna slide in and out a little bit here. So, Jimmy touched on his youth and that, nothing out of the norm. What sounds to me. Kind of sounds like mine a little bit. Played a lot of ball, was always doing the sports thing, hit the bars at a certain age, nothing crazy. And then something happens. Jimmy, let's talk about, when did you get this, when did it strike you that you were thinking about robbing banks?
Well,
let's fast forward a little bit there.
Okay. I was a operations manager with JB Hunt Trucking. So
big company.
Yeah, so I had to travel a lot to accounts like Ohio, Indiana, Michigan. I was on the road every week, and it was the wife's fault because they told us when we got the job I was going to have to relocate. And then when it got time, she refused to move. So my boss said, I don't want to lose you, but if you still want to work, you're going to have to travel. So I did. And my job was basically, you could call it a grease man. If accounts were in trouble, I'd go up there, take the customer golfing, take them out to dinner, keep them sloppy drunk, had an expense account. And they like to go to strip clubs. And there's nothing better than going to a strip club on an expense account.
So, Lily, it's not coming out of your pocket.
I mean,
or it is, but you're getting it back.
Anything better.
You're getting it back.
So I met somebody up there. She was a dancer, and she was pretty much everything that the wife wasn't. I was in a bad marriage, couple of little boys who I adored, but I couldn't stand my wife. We didn't like each other. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I could provide that.
Yeah. And
a long story short, I stupidly quit a great job.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a breakdown, maybe a midlife crisis, but I quit a great job. And I kind of worked from the bottom up to the position I was at. So I'm not going to go to another company and start at what I was making.
Got you.
So,
absolutely.
So I've got all these bills. I mean, I got the stripper and her couple daughters. I got the wife and the kids at home.
Yeah.
And I got this bright idea. I'm going to rob a bank.
I got to say something there. If anybody knows about anything about strippers at home, I don't want to paint this with a broad brush, but I can tell you this. I don't know about how the strippers are in Ohio, but I can tell you this about high maintenance. Strippers in New York were very high maintenance. Not that I had an experience with that, but I just thought I'd share that with you.
Well, she loved me. She said that.
and listen, if my wife is watching this at home, hon, I'm sorry.
Craig, she loved him though.
Yes,
she loved him.
They all love you.
Yeah.
She loved him, Greg. Come
Yeah,
on, man.
it's got nothing to do with the expense account.
That's what I used to say. I love them all.
Yeah.
So-
Where I thought I was a good looking guy. Hell.
Yeah, he's a handsome dude.
Yeah. So anyway,
man. Yeah.
I got desperate and I robbed my first bank and I got $99,000 in 5 minutes without hurting anybody.
That's unbelievable. Can I stop you? I don't want nobody to get upset. I
Absolutely.
gotta ask you, I'm glad you said that. The first one, maybe it was spontaneous, you'll tell us. Did you plan anything out? If so, what did you plan out?
Well, what I knew, what I wanted to do was, because when I was younger, I was in the pizza business. So, and I was a manager, and sometimes I'd have to make a deposit right before the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock rush. And I remembered when I'd get to the bank right at closing time, there would always be a teller at the door who would let me in, and then she'd lock the door and pull the shade down. And then after I was done, she would let me out. So when I'm going to rob a bank, that's what I'm going to do, because I'm not afraid of the bank employees. I'm afraid of Joe Hero walking through the front door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's what
That's
went through your mind, right?
yes.
All right.
Man.
So take us through your first bank job. Can you, if you don't mind, for us, tell us what goes down, what happens, what goes down your first time.
Okay. Well,
Lay it out for us. Make believe we're doing this.
in Ohio, I got
Getting
the wife
sweaty.
and kids down in southern Ohio.
I feel like we're going in. I'm sorry.
We're going in, Jimmy. Bring us in it.
I got the stripper up in northern Ohio, so I'm going to rob the banks right in the middle,
Got
right
you.
around the Columbus area. Okay.
Mhm.
Because I already know I'm going to be on the news and the paper, but nobody knows me there because I can't wear a disguise, because
Right.
the whole thing is that lady has to trust me enough to let me in that bank.
Yeah.
And if I got dark glasses on or hat, she might say, sorry, we're closed.
Right.
So I just go in, khaki pants, polo shirt, had the gun in the back. 2 minutes till 5, I walk up to the door. The girl lets me in, pulls the shade down and locks the door. I pull the gun out and there's like 5 tellers and they all put their hands up and I go, put your hands down. I said, let's go back to the safe. I'm not even going to touch that counter money. I don't want it. I want the money in the safe because I don't want any die packs. I don't want nothing. So
Did
there's
you do
no
any
die
homework, Jimmy?
I mean,
did
that's
you
some
do any
hell of a
homework?
plans, man. Yeah.
Did you? Because that plan sounds amazing. I'm not a heist guy, but in general, that sounds like a good plan. Did you know anything about the die packs, where they would be, where they wouldn't be?
Yes, they put the die packs in at the counter.
Got you.
So
Okay.
they're not going to have an accidental die pack go off in a safe with $100,000.
Thank
Gotcha.
Right.
Good info. Yeah.
So,
Quality
then I
information
took
for the
them all
next one
back
I
to
go.
the safe
I'll
room,
try.
and
Oh,
it's not like you see in the movies where it's the
No.
big vault with the wheel.
yeah. Oh,
you
no.
know. They got that, but
Yeah.
that's basically where the safety deposit boxes are.
Got
This
you.
is like a back room with a safe in it. And then they open the safe up and there's the stacks of money. So I just got a leather jacket on. It's January. I didn't even have a bag because my whole thing was I wanted 20 grand. That's all I wanted. That would
That's
have
what you
got
had
me
in
that
mind,
day.
right?
So then they start to shove all this money in my jacket. When they're done, I tell them to count to 100 and then they can come out. I'm not in there to hurt nobody. I'm not in there to shoot it out. So I walk out and the keys are still hanging in the front door. I let myself out. I take the keys, get in the car, and I'm gone.
Man.
And then
Oh.
I'm on the highway
Right.
and I'm reaching in. And 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000 until I got to 99,000.
So
And then,
your
and then
your heart's racing, I'm sure.
And then, I'm
Adrenaline.
Italian. I'm not Native American, but I let out a war cry. I'm telling you.
I can imagine.
Hey, I got one question for you, Jim,
Go
that
ahead,
I
man.
didn't ask you. But first, the gun, man. Did you already have a gun? Did you go get one for this? What?
It was the strippers.
Okay, there you go. Well, shit.
Oh,
Why
She
not?
loved me. She gave me a gun.
Damn, I missed that question. Man, you got a gym there, Gatto.
oh. So
Yes.
now that we know it's the stripper's gun, let me take it back to when I said New York strippers are high maintenance. No, Ohio strippers are higher maintenance than them. Wow. So you got the stripper. Great question, Mike. So you get the stripper's gun. You do the job. You're in the car. You're counting the money. Are you thinking anything? Are you thinking that somebody's following? Are you paranoid at all?
Absolutely not. After that first bank, I just knew I was good.
Okay.
Somebody knew I was good. So
$1 million question.
yes.
How long did the money last before you decided to go for round 2? Or
3 months.
did something happen?
3 months. I gave $50,000 to my wife, and I kept $49,000 up there with the stripper where I was living. So my wife paid off a lot of bills. I robbed I robbed my first bank in a Honda Civic and my second in a Lexus RX 300.
All right.
Jimmy upgraded.
You know what? I know people are going to be thinking this. I have to ask this that are watching. So it comes off smooth. Are you thinking at all? I know you weren't thinking about anybody following, but are you thinking at all? Like, we didn't talk about what did you do about the plates, bad plates, stolen car, cameras. Are you thinking about anything?
Wasn't even worried about it.
Knocking on the door the next day.
Because it's only me. And back in those days, they didn't have those little bubble cameras.
Mm-hmm.
So I know where to park to be safe. The only way they're going to get the car or something is if they come out and see me leaving. But they're in the back.
You're bystander, right?
I'm not even worried about any of that stuff.
So you got the money. You're home free. You spend the money. You do the right thing. What some would say, you give here. You hold on to a few. And 3 months later, what? You go broke, or you say, "Wow, that was easy. Let me do this again."
I made really good money in my job, but I've never had that mad money.
Yeah, no, lump sum.
To where you could go to the mall and
go crazy. Without even enjoy. Yeah, absolutely. No taxes. Yeah.
So honestly, that's when a little bit of greed came in.
Yeah, of course.
So I got a little low, got under 10,000 3 months later, and I said, okay, time to do it again. So,
another state, or you stayed near oh, that's what we did ask. Was this close? How far was this from where you were living?
It was about 150 miles both ways.
Okay. And you didn't slow down or nothing, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm on the news and the TV, but nobody knows me in these areas.
Go ahead, Mikey.
I was going to ask you one question on it.
Yes.
During the first 3 months of that first robbery, did you ever see on the news any of the, hey, we're looking for this guy. This guy robbed a bank. Did you ever see? Never. Wow.
No. And then nobody in the Dayton, Ohio area saw it either, or else they'd have said, wait a minute, I know him.
Hey, what's his name? Yeah. That's the guy with the stripper.
So here we go. It's 3 months later. You get to under 10 grand. You get the itch again. Are you thinking any differently? You're gonna do it the same way in your head?
Same plan. That's my plan.
Same bank?
No. Right. Same area and around like maybe a 15, 20-mile radius.
Okay.
But I'm making sure I got easy access to the highway, and I got a backup way to go in case there's traffic.
Okay. All right. So take us through bank number 2, please.
So I go to bank number 2, same MO, couple minutes till 5. Lady lets me in, locks the door, pulls the shade down. And this is kind of a bigger bank. So I pull out the gun, and there's five more women. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get a score here. So we go to the back, and I actually have a duffel bag this time. And they put the money in the duffel bag, and I say, okay, count to 100. So I leave, and as I'm driving, I'm counting the money, and I got 65 grand, and I'm pissed.
Son of a bitch.
You're thinking you want more than 100.
I'm thinking, hey, honestly, I was thinking them bitches held out on me.
You're going back.
I mean, yeah, maybe the only time I thought of shooting somebody. 'Cause, you know, you ain't cheating me.
That's my money. So.
65 grand.
How dare them?
Then I'm thinking about it. Most people would have been like, man, 65,000.
Yeah.
Year salary to some people.
That's a hit. And here I'm pissed off.
You got
Mike,
spoiled, man, on that first one, man.
Mike,
Yeah.
Mike, what do you got for Jimmy? Go ahead, Mike. What do you got for Jimmy on this?
You know what, man? What I think of that one would have been the funniest thing is had he seen a news clip of that. He got 65, right? He got 65, and he looks on the news and they go, the bank was hit today for $150,000, and those women did keep the other.
I'd have called the FBI myself.
Jimmy turns red because they ripped him off.
Oh my God!
Oh,
I could imagine how you felt. You son of a! How dare you do this to me?
Oh,
I drove 100 miles for this.
I was cursed at driving. I was like, I couldn't
right.
believe it.
So you realize you only got 65 grand. You're away from the bank again, right? You're counting. And
I go home. I give the wife 30,000. She's
understandable. So you try
to put the money in, and she keeps asking me where I'm getting the money, and I said that I'm running drugs for my Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank was kind of connected up into Youngstown, and she's fine with it. Don't get caught. Keep the money coming home. So I'm like, okay.
Right. Good woman.
So that only lasts a couple months. You know, the 30.
Yeah.
Of course.
That just lasts.
Hey, you're short. Yeah, but
you couldn't get everything you wanted at the mall this time. The mall's on them.
Well, no, I couldn't get the shoes to match the outfit.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah. You believe
the
that?
Scoppines. You couldn't wear
Scoppines. Ladies and gentlemen, anybody at home wants to know what
Scoppines is?
Just look it up.
Skechers back then. I'd have been wearing those.
That's right.
Okay,
so what happens?
So I planned the third one.
Can I ask you how long in between?
2 months.
It's getting less. Go ahead.
2 months.
2 months.
So I find this little bank right in the front of a strip mall, easy access to everything. I scoped this one out.
Okay.
So
how much planning?
So my plan is to hit it Thursday evening, right after the Brinks truck comes for the Friday payroll.
You clocked the truck? You clocked it?
Yeah. I saw the truck come in. I knew
How long do you think you laid out on it, Jimmy? How long do you think you might have laid out on it watching?
I watched Tuesday to see if it came for Wednesday, and when it didn't, I knew it was coming Thursday for Friday.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Just trying to let everybody know.
So 2 minutes till 5, I go up there again, and I was getting good now. I didn't even have to talk in this one. She lets me in, locks the door, pulls the shade down. There's 2 women, her and another one. I pull the gun out. They put their arms up, and I just go like this.
Same routine, unbelievable.
And then we go into the back room, and they unlock it, and there's all this money in there. And I got a good-sized duffel bag. And they fill the duffel bag up, and I kind of lied. I did say one thing.
What?
There was still bills in the safe, and there was a cardboard box on the shelf, and I said, get that box down. So they got the box down and put the rest of the money in it. So I told them, count to 100 and I'll be gone. So I got the duffel bag on my shoulder and a cardboard box on top of it, and I walk out, keys in the front door, and I'm gone.
Unbelievable.
So this time I get a hotel because I want to count out, but I can't count this on the road.
Can't count this on the road driving. Bills flying out.
So I got all this money on this king-size bed. It's still in the plastic wrappers.
Oh, man.
So I counted up 385,000.
Home run.
Oh, man. Good God almighty, man.
385.
All right. At this point, you got nobody to high five. You can't scream like in a football game, like if he made a big tackle. I know you pumped up. The adrenaline must have been crazy.
Actually, this one I was scared afterwards.
Yeah, they're coming probably.
Because I'm thinking, okay, I'm a nickel and dimer now.
Yeah, no,
No,
you're
that's
certain.
serious
Yeah,
money. I mean, those were big money.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
were big money.
They're not going to
though.
let him go, but yeah.
This is
They're going to come
money.
at me with everything.
This is
So,
money.
so I'm thinking I need
This
to
is
get out
money.
of town for a couple weeks, kind of
Yeah.
lay low. So I go home. I give the wife $200,000. She puts it in the safe. I go back up to the stripper. I give her like $5,000.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think
take
that's a
off.
good denomination.
5 G's.
Yeah. I'm kind of finding out she doesn't really love me.
She may not love you, bro. God damn it.
Yeah.
He's lucky you didn't give her $2,500 and a buffet ticket.
Yeah.
The Golden Corral.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I got $180,000 with me. So I go down to Florida, get a little hotel, and about 2 days later, I'm trying to call my wife to talk to my kids. Nobody's answering the phone. Finally, she answers about 10 o'clock, and she goes, "It's all over, Jim. You've been robbing banks. I called the FBI." I said, "You what?" She said, "I called the FBI on you." I said, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "Well, your stripper's husband called me and said, I think your husband's living with my wife. So I figured you wasn't living with Uncle Frank or doing drugs for Uncle Frank. So I called the FBI and said, I think my husband's doing something wrong. He gave me $200,000.
Oh my gosh,
so
man.
I can be a drug runner, but I'm banging a stripper and I'm an asshole, right?
Oh man, this is too much. It's unbelievable, man.
You can't make this up. For anybody keeping score at home, ladies and gentlemen, we got Jimmy The Crease with us tonight. Jimmy is, we're in the top of the fifth inning. Jimmy has just robbed his third bank, and he's in trouble for banging a stripper. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Just a little over 500 G's, right? I know right
over
under $500,000.
Over $500,000.
All right.
I think my arm's getting tired, and the wife comes out. She's going to the bullpen.
Jimmy, so she drops the bomb on you.
Yes.
She called the feds. What goes through your mind now?
I just said, see ya. I hung up, I pack up, and I'm on the run.
Yeah.
So I'm taking off. And this is back in 2002, I got a little Nokia cell phone, but I don't really know a lot about cell phone technology back then. But she keeps calling me and putting my oldest son on the phone to talk to me so the feds can track me across the country. So,
man.
So I was on the run for about 11 days.
Wow.
And I don't really have a clue. Yeah. So for some stupid reason.
Was it marshals that got you?
Oh, no, wait till you got to hear the story.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
no, it's not great. I'm sorry.
Is the movie. This is the movie part right here, man.
I can't wait. Go ahead, man. This is unbelievable.
So for some stupid reason, I want to see the Grand Canyon. Don't ask me why.
No, hey, it's beautiful.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, and probably you're not going to be able to see it for a while.
So I go through Arizona. I get to Flagstaff. There's just nothing but mud. And I'm going, where's this canyon at? Then all of a sudden, there's an entrance to the national park. And there's like a little toll booth there with the lady, and you pay $20, and then you go into the park. So I'm driving, and I pull off at the first stop. I get out, go to the rail, look at the Grand Canyon for 30 seconds, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Oh I've seen enough. So there's this guy who's also looking out, and he's in this Hawaiian shirt with this big old floppy mustache and these sunglasses and a hat. And I'm thinking,
tell me, he's an agent.
I'm thinking, who's this?
Who's this schmo?
It's the stripper's husband.
So I'm getting an idea. Now I'm starting to plan. I'm saying, why don't I go to Vegas? Maybe I can get some papers or something and disappear.
Yeah.
Or there's a lot of strippers in Vegas, and I got 180 G's.
Oh, yeah, that's what, you know what? Thank you for saying that. You got about 180 with you still.
Yes. So I get in the car, and I'm driving, and I'm smoking a cigarette, and a park ranger passes me. And right after he passes me, I shoot the butt out the window. And he whips around. And I said, oh, shit, cigarette butt, fire could happen. So I look back, he puts his lights on, and I look forward, and there's a roadblock. There's like 6 cars there. So I stop. 15 FBI agents come out of the woods with sticks on their hats and machine guns.
They were watching you the whole time, yeah.
You think they had Dillinger cornered.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, okay, option A, I could ram the roadblock. B, I could do a little Thelma and Louise shit over the Grand Canyon.
Oh, evil.
Or option C, I can get out peacefully.
Yeah, that's C.
I picked C. But it wasn't very peacefully. It was not peaceful.
No, you went not so peacefully.
They threw me around like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Did they really, man?
Oh, yeah.
Mike, you got anything you want to add, Jimmy, before we move on?
Let me see what I can add. Let me see if I pull up.
Ohio
what we got here?
Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon, a man wanted for allegedly robbing an Ohio bank last month has been arrested at the Grand Canyon. My man Jimmy Dinkin Jr. was taken into custody without incident Tuesday afternoon by National Park Service Rangers turned over to Mikey. Way to do your homework, bud. Oh, we got more, ladies and gentlemen. Thrall. The same branch was robbed at $360,000. So they knew you were a serial bank robber. They were on to you. She gave them the information, but there you go, boy. I never did see your graduation picture. I'm glad I got a chance to see it.
Look at this guy, man.
There you are. Yeah. That's the guy right there.
Hey, he is, man. This guy. The Crease, man.
We're going to get to this, Mike. But I when I just saw that picture, I saw that scene from Goodfellas when De Niro tells young Henry Hill, mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I'm proud of you. You learned the 2 greatest lessons. You never told. What do you say? You didn't say nothing.
Don't rat on your friends or whatever. Yeah.
Well, but that's
keep your mouth shut.
I don't want to make it, but you do things alone. We'll get to that. You didn't have nobody with you. You can't. There's nobody to give up, but you got you. You know what I mean? And there was nobody that could have told on you except the one person you think that's not going to tell on you.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, man. So, Mikey, great. Because this is Jimmy, man, incredible. Before we move on, Mike, you got anything you want to say, Jim, before we get to the bus rides?
Man, you know what? I'm excited for that, man. Let's go with that, man.
Jim, let me ask you. Let's get into tell us about your bus ride to where your new home's going to be. Why don't you tell us what goes on now?
This was the come to prison moment. So the feds take me to the Coconino County Jail up there in Flagstaff. And after a couple days, I get moved to Florence. And they have a CCA there, which is a Correctional Centers of America. And from there, they take you to Phoenix to fly to Oklahoma City.
Okay.
So they drive me to Florence, the FBI agents, and there's this big old white bus. And it's the one where it's got like the little rectangular windows. So I get on this bus, and this is the end of July in Arizona. So, it's probably like 90 degrees.
150?
Yeah.
So I get in this bus, and it's got the wooden seats. And you look up at the front where the driver sits, and there's a little fan that's bolted into it just to hit him. So I'm sitting on this bus, and they got the black boxes on me because I'm considered dangerous. So then they bring all the guys in the bus from the CCA. And these guys, they all got the scruff going. They all look dirty. They're all sweating. They're all sitting there. And they all get in there, and I'm thinking, these are some of the meanest looking sons of bitches I've seen. So
my life's going to be changed for a little bit, yeah.
So I'm like, Jesus, I'm just a bank robber. What the hell? And then this other marshal gets into the back of the bus, and you just hear, loads up the shotgun.
And it wasn't a water pistol,
No. And he's there, and you got all these people in this wooden hot-ass bus. and the driver starts the engine, and the radio is playing Phil Collins. I can feel it. I'm thinking,
man.
I'm going to prison, man.
I'm really going to prison. Holy shit.
How's the drum solo?
Yeah. So I can never listen to In the Air Tonight again.
Oh,
But I
man.
remember.
How long of a ride was that?
I remember.
It was about 3 hours.
Oh man, 3 hours.
Unbelievable,
Like
Jimmy.
that, man.
Yeah.
Anything along the way that happened that?
Oh man,
like
he
you
must have
stood
died
out
in the
any-
heat. Brutal
nothing-
heat. Oh.
No. And when I'm talking to people, telling them about my crime, they're all telling me I'm getting 20 years. That's the
Yeah, that's what they're right off the bat.
That, you know what,
There.
Mike? I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you. Let me ask you a question, Jim.
yeah.
For yourself, for anybody that could be listening, when did you start to think, or like somebody said 20 years, when did you start to even think about, was it the bus ride? You know, everybody's got their own, when it goes through their mind, what they're looking at. When did you start thinking about time? How much time? The question, the great question.
When I
Well,
got
you didn't.
when I got back to Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
and the first time the public defender came in and saw me, and he says, "You're facing 84 years,"
Fucking
and
heart must have dropped.
and I'm like, I didn't kill nobody.
No.
So then he explains to me how the first gun is an automatic 7 years, and then each additional is 25. So I'm facing
Wow.
57 years in gun charges.
And so they tacked it on 3 times, even though it's never used. Now,
Right.
does it matter? Did you, if you don't mind, go back just a little bit? When you, because it didn't sound like you did you announce to whoever, I have a gun?
No, I brandished it.
He straight up
so
pulled it
you
out.
You straight up. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, each
So it's
time,
automatically at that point, it's an armed robbery, correct?
Yes. And then if
Okay.
you brandish a gun, it's an
With
automatic
intent.
7. If
Yeah.
it accidentally discharges, it's an automatic 10.
Okay. Jimbo, so you think you're looking at a certain amount of years. How quick, like what, so you're going to charge you, when do they finally lay out for you what they have, what you're being charged with? About. I'm just trying to give people an idea. And
Okay,
it's
yeah.
me.
So with the feds, Fed time in county jail is really slow. I mean, they take their time.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So from the start to the time I got shipped out, it was 11 months.
Yeah.
And-
Damn.
And they kind of
Yeah,
wear
yeah.
you down with that to where you
Mhm.
take the plea. And also, you're not wanting to go to trial because, I mean, their
No.
conviction rate is.
They don't lose anyway. Yeah, they don't lose.
Right.
And you got your debt to rights. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah. So on the second time the attorney comes, he's got the motion of discovery. And he's sitting there reading it, and he says, "You was turned in by," and it's blacked out. And I said, "I know, it was my wife." So he's reading this stuff. Then he throws the papers on the table, and he goes, "What the hell am I going to do with this?" And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You're guilty." I said, "I know."
Did he
He
laugh?
goes, "I just got to get you the best deal possible."
Yeah, best deal possible. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What did
So-
they offer you right away, or they didn't?
About
played a little
6
game.
months in, he comes to me and he said, "They're offering me 18 years." And I said, "No way." And he goes, "Well,
Usually gets
what
better.
do you think?" And I said, "I'll do 10. I said, "I'll do 10.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Here I'm demanding shit.
Yeah, like, look, man.
Yeah.
You're
You
the
didn't
man,
hear about
Jimbo.
my last crimes?
Yeah.
I make the demands.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
So then he goes, "Okay, I'll go talk to him." So he comes back 2 weeks later with that federal sentencing sheet.
Yep.
And he
Point
says,
system.
yeah, and he says, "You're getting 84 years, 84 months right off the top." That's the gun. Because, the feds, everything is months.
Months. Yeah.
So he said, "That's what you're getting off the top." He goes, "They're going to throw out the 2 other gun charges, and they're going to charge you with the 3 banks, but they're only going to do your point system on the one you got the most money out of."
Money. Huh? Yeah. Oh wow.
So with the bank
Go on.
robbery, it starts out at a base level 20. and I'm a category 1 because it's my first time in trouble. But every $50,000 you get enhanced a point. So they did the bank. I got the 385 out.
They couldn't go off to the 65,000 one.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's the only time you were picked.
Why don't we do that one?
Because I got cheated out of that one. They should have at least.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have had to do this third one if they would have did me right there.
So he shows me where it's going to fall, and it fell between 87 and 103 months. He said, I'm pretty sure, because it's your first time ever in trouble, and you've got 84 months already, I'm pretty sure she'll give you the low end of the 87. And I said, so what's that? And he said, 171 months. And I go, so how much am I going to do on that? He goes, 12, 13. I said, is that the best I got? And he says, that's all you're getting. That's all they're giving you.
This is
I
it.
said, well, I guess if I could do 10, I could do 12 or 13.
There you go. So that you wrapped your mind around it right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what other choice did you have, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
And I
Mikey.
still, when I got it, with the amount of money that I got, I think I got off pretty easy. I remember when I came back from sentencing, I was happy, and guys were going, he just got 171 months, and he's happy. I'm like, well, I just got 197. You know?
Yeah, exactly, man. Do y'all know what I did?
Yeah.
Said, do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Exactly. Dang, dude.
My mother was a stripper.
Listen.
She was gone by then.
Wait a minute. You saying she didn't stick around through the whole prison term? And come on, man.
What do you got?
She was going to. She was, yeah.
All right.
Didn't make it though.
Jeez, man.
Well, did they go?
Let me ask you this: did they go over there and take any money?
No, they went to her house.
Good question.
She had 60,000 hidden in a load of towels in the dryer. They didn't even search her house.
And she wound up holding. It's gone, right? So she had it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dang!
They took it out on you, but
I mean, right? You're responsible.
Well, I'm not going to say, hey, she's got 60
Absolutely.
It's over there. Yeah, exactly.
No,
I got you. Dang, that's nuts, man.
All right, so Jim,
yes.
let's. So the party's over. You get hit. This is your new home for the next, God willing. You gotta stay alive. We could look back at that now. You got to still live that far, in advance. You got to live the next 2 decades, be alive to get home. I mean, obviously, like you are now, thank God. So I'm sure you'll say, you wrapped your mind around this is home for the next 20 years. I'm sure you could tell us how you start to acclimate yourself. And why don't you tell everybody how you become friends and who you become friends with very close to? I'm sure many people, as we know, but one in particular.
So I started out in Butner, North Carolina. It's a complex. They have a medical center, a camp, a low, and at the time there was just the one medium, and then they started to build the FCI 2. So I started out at the Federal Medical Center in the work cadre, and I was a inmate companion. So that was like, you would help people who couldn't function very highly. Right. And I kind of worked on the psych wings for like 6 months. And that was just, that was miserable. I mean, those are like the people time forgot. I mean, you got
mentally draining and everything.
You got some really sick people in there who isn't ever getting out of prison. A lot of murderers, a lot of stuff like that.
Not those.
You're right. So at about a year, that kind of wears on you to where you just can't do that anymore. So I told my counselor, look, can I transfer? And he goes, well, do you want to go next door to the medium? We can get you over there in a couple days. I said, absolutely. So 2 days later, I got to the medium. They just put me on the bus and take me right over to the medium. So I get into R&D, and the captain comes in and says, they have a sex offender program there. to where one unit is nothing but sex offenders. And he says, if you touch any of them, we will charge you with a hate crime and we'll ship you. So we're like, okay. Because, they protect the fuckers. I mean, they protect them. And he said, they also have a step-down unit, which is a mental health unit for higher functioning guys coming out of the medical center to where they kind of acclimate them to a regular institution. And Butner Medium at the time was probably one of the sweetest spots you could get.
You being, yeah.
Yeah. So, I get there, get my stuff, go to the unit. Of course, everybody greets you. What are you in for? Yada, yada. What are you? I'm Italian. Okay, so this guy Tommy comes up to me, gives me a bag of coffee, says, you need anything? So he's talking to me about who's on the compound. He tells me Carmine Persico is on the compound, the Colombo boss. He tells me Joey Testa is on the compound. Those were the big guys. And I go, okay, it'd be cool. So I go to dinner that night, and he introduces me to this old guy named Toothpick. I don't even think I ever knew his real name. He was just Toothpick. He was an old guy, had a toothpick in his mouth all the time. And he was a bookie. So I told him about my dad being a bookie. So we got along. So he said, well, after dinner, let's go out and I'll introduce you to the fellas. I'm like, okay. So we go out there, and of course, everybody's up at the bocce courts. That's where the Italians hang out at.
Yeah, yeah.
So I meet some of the guys, and he introduces me to Joey. I meet Joey Testa, seemed like a nice enough guy. Joey, he was a workout machine, and he was a handball player, so he didn't really hang out with the guys a lot. He was usually doing his thing. So then Toothpick says, are you ready to meet the boss? And I said, well, I guess so. So they got an officer shack there with some rose bushes all around it. And there's this old guy tending the rose bushes, which is Carmine. That's his job. So Toothpick walks me over and goes, hey, Carmine, I want you to meet old Jimmy here. He's a friend of ours. So Carmine gets up and turns around, and I'm like, holy shit, it's Carmine Persico. I mean, I got my knees knocking, and I'm shitting my pants and everything. And as a kid, I had a real bad stutter as a kid, and I kind of got a little better with it. But if I got nervous, sometimes it would still come out. So Carmine goes to shake my hand, and he goes, what you in for, Jimmy? And right at that moment, I'm a stuttering prick again. I go, bank robbery. He goes, Jesus, I hope you used a note.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got a little laugh about that.
That's
and he
great.
goes, okay, I'll talk to you later. So I kind of walk away with Toothpick, and he goes, hey, he must have liked you. And I go, why? He goes, he don't normally joke with people like that. I'm like, hey, I'm a likable fella.
There you go. You are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then that next day in the morning, I don't have a job yet because I just got there. So after breakfast, I go out to rec, and there's Carmine, doing his flowers. So he calls me over, and he goes, hey, you shop commissary? And I said, well, to be honest with you, Mr. Persico, he goes, Carmine, there's no Mr. Persico. I said, I don't really have a lot of help, so I got to wait to get a job before I shop. And he goes, well, I'll tell you what, they sell vegetables here, onions, tomatoes, peppers. He goes, how about if I get some money put on your books and you get what I need, and then with the rest of the money, get what you need? And I say, okay. So he gets my name and my number. That evening before dinner, I check my account. I got $100. So after dinner, I go out there. Carmine calls me over, and he gives me a commissary list. And it's like $18. And I'm like, hey, Carmine, this is only $18. He goes, I know. I said, well, you want me to go for you again next week too and get you the same? He goes, no, get what you need. And he goes, you're going to need a radio to watch TV. You probably need hygiene. He said, you're going to need some coffee and stuff. He goes, get what you need. So I'm like, well, okay. And kind of like old OG Mike said, it was kind of like someday, and this day may never come. You're going to owe me a service.
I'm going to need a favor.
I'm going to need a favor. It's only $18.
Hey, man, come on.
So
I'm going to need a favor, Jimmy.
There you go. And may your first child be immaculate.
Yeah. So then Carmine, he'd like to play pinochle. I play pinochle. Toothpick could play. So we play three-handed pinochle all the time. So we'd be sitting at the table, and I'd be talking, and he asked me what my favorite movie was. I told him The Godfather. So then he told me about how the Columbos was very influential
in that movie,
in the making of the movie. And he said how James Caan used to hang out with them and stuff. So it was just really cool stories about that. So then we're playing pinochle, and Carmine looks at me and goes, hey, I got to ask you. He goes, how'd they catch you anyway? And I said, well, my wife turned me in. And he looks at me and he goes, what? I said, my wife turned me in, and she gave up $200,000. And he said, your wife turned you in. And I said, yeah. And then she would call me and put my little boy on the phone while the FBI tracked me across the country. And he had this look on his face, and he goes, that bitch got to go, Jimmy. and I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I don't hurt women. He goes, I don't hurt women, but that bitch got to go. He goes, no woman calls the FBI on their husband. I don't care how many strippers you're banging. No woman calls the feds on her husband and then turns the money in and then helps them track you across the country. And I'm like, listen, I said, I'm in prison a long time. She's a great mother. So,
Don't
whack her. So he looks at me and he goes, okay. But when that youngest one's 18,
let me know.
That bitch is dead. So I'm like, okay. Now this is the crazy part. A week later, we're out there playing pinochle again. He reaches in his gym bag and he pulls out an envelope. He puts it in front of me. I open it up and there's pictures. It's my wife and her living boyfriend. It's the house my wife lives in. And I look over and he says, just in case you change your mind.
Serious man, even from inside, obviously, huh?
In a week's time, he had somebody from New York to Ohio find this woman, get pictures, and get them back to her.
Yeah.
And she has no idea.
Yeah, well, outside of watching these videos, she probably will never know.
Yeah, and also,
hey, make sure and subscribe.
Also, I was a little mad at Carmine because he then said, you do know that stripper didn't love you.
Oh, no, man, don't tell me he was...
Boy, he know how to hurt a guy. He really know how to hurt a guy.
Doses of hard truth.
I said to myself, damn, if you wasn't the snake.
I slapped the shit out of him.
So, I mean, we just...
You don't talk like that.
He kind of treated me like a son. I mean...
Yeah, you should build some relationship.
I had Toothpick one day. I said, Toothpick, why does Carmine like me like he does? He goes, well, his son, Alley Boy, has a lot going on. And he's going to probably be in the prison for a long time. Yep. So he says, maybe he kind of looks at you as like a son. And he goes, and I'll tell you what, he had you checked out as soon as you got here. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, he had his people check you out. He said, he comes up to me and he goes, Toothpick, do you know the money that kid got? He goes, that kid has got balls. I don't know how he fits them in his pants.
Yeah.
He says, I have.
Yeah, it's true.
He said, I never heard a bank robber getting that much money. He said, if that kid was with me, he'd have been an earner back in the day.
Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah. Just listen and just hear it. When you were saying it earlier.
So
that's
it
the
was
first thing that comes to mind. You have balls the size of a greyhound, no doubt.
So, I mean, he respected the fact that I did it alone.
Yeah.
And I mean, and he respected the fact that, I wasn't one of these junkies in prison
No.
or
Although they
stuff
didn't know,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I got a message right after I did OG Mike's. It was from an Italian guy up there who knew Carmine and knew Carmine's son.
Mhm.
And he said to me, the reason why I think Carmine liked you so much was because when you talked to him that first time and you stuttered, he said, I think Carmine understood right then you was real, that he could put his guns away with you.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Didn't have to worry about you
No.
trying to do this or that to him or whatever. Yeah, that you were
It's
sincere.
crazy, Jimmy. There's so much. I really didn't. There's so much. Honestly, Jim, we could do this anytime you want, once a week. You know what I mean?
Listen, I do
so
got to
much.
tell you this funny one.
Go ahead, please,
And
man. Please.
Mike's
brother.
got it.
Do it, man.
It's the cheeseburger one.
Do it.
So in
Really?
the feds, every Wednesday is hamburger and French fries, right? So I go up, I get my hamburger and French fries. Carmine calls me over, and I'm sitting down, and I'm eating the burger, and I go, man, this is good. He goes, go back up and get you another one. And I said, no, man, I don't want to get in trouble. He said, you robbed banks, for God's sake.
I've heard about
He
a
said, now
cheeseburger.
you're afraid to go get a cheeseburger? So he calls the guard. He goes, Hawkins, bring Jimmy over a cheeseburger. And the guard
That's
comes
great.
over with 3 cheeseburgers. He goes, I don't believe you. You get here and you lose your balls all of a sudden.
Absolutely. Carmine Persico. For anybody that doesn't know, Jimmy, let me just say this. For anybody that doesn't know, because you never know who's going to come across this. Carmine Persico is, Mikey, why don't you word it correctly? Because maybe I'll say it, the infamous. Would you say infamous or the famous?
He was a guy just like a lot of these guys, man. He was just a nice old guy. He was a tomato farmer from up north who
Absolutely.
they picked on, they locked him up for no reason, and it's a shame. I mean, it's happened to a lot of Italians, and it's one of those. No, I'm sorry, man. I was thinking of
boss
Marcelo.
of the Colombo crime family, right?
I was thinking, yes, that's it.
But he was a tomato farmer. Yeah.
He was a tomato farmer, though. But I was thinking of Marcelo saying that in court.
Oh, getting thrown out the plane.
Yeah, that too.
And I'll tell you, one of the biggest reasons why I started doing these is because
I'm glad you did, man.
All I ever heard was bad things about Carmine.
Really?
Like, Carmine the Snake. Carmine's only out for Carmine. You read these books about him and stuff. And to me, he was like a father. I mean, he didn't have to be nice to me. I'm a bank robber kid from Ohio.
And he took you in, basically. Yeah.
So I like telling people a side of Carmine that they
maybe not everybody hears. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, man. Most people probably wouldn't even think of anything like the funny things you said, the quips like, geez, I hope you used the note, stuff like that. The cheeseburger one. Dang, man, you get here, you lose your balls. Stuff. That's funny stuff that most people never get to hear or think of.
Yeah, they don't think of that when they think of Carmine.
They don't think of a person even.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Before we kind of wrap this up, because I really wanted to keep it. Yes, I wanted to talk about Carmine, but I really wanted to talk about Mikey and the lead up to it and how it went down and stuff like that. But can we just touch on how did you get? Because there's people that haven't maybe seen you at OG Mike. How did you get your name, The Crease? Maybe people don't know.
So Carmine comes to me one day and says, "Hey, would you like to do our laundry?" And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, our khaki uniforms. You wash our khaki uniforms and you iron them. He said, I like the creases down the middle. I like the creases in the pants. I like the collar crease. And he said, you do a good job. You do all of us. So Carmine gave me his uniform. So I took it up and I washed it. And I spent an hour on this uniform. I mean, I'm using every trick I got in the book. I'm putting a soap inside of the crease. I got these suckers tight. So I put it on a hanger and I walk it down to him. And Carmine comes out and he grabs the uniform and he holds it up and he goes, Jesus Christ, I never saw creases like this in my life.
Yeah.
He goes, you're Jimmy the Crease. That's your name, Jimmy the
And that was
Jimmy
it?
the Crease.
And
he said, and I tell you what, if you got the in your nickname,
there you go.
Special, kid.
Yeah, you special. That's
And
right.
you got the tats, right?
And that's why.
And you got it.
Prison tat is Jimmy the Crease.
It's in ink.
The only thing I got.
You know, if we do, we have a couple more minutes, fellas.
Yeah,
I'd like to.
absolutely.
I got one more
talk
guy.
to Jimmy. Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, so Jimmy ended up robbing 2 more banks, getting after
What?
that. He ended up getting convicted. We won't even. Anybody watching?
Maybe another. We can save that for another
This
time.
will
if
be
Jimmy
for
comes
another
back.
one if
Yeah,
the
I hope he
people
comes back.
if Jimmy blesses us again on there. But I do want to bring this one up, man. This was in now Beaumont, you know, here in
Texas, right?
Texas, man, serious spot. Yeah, and so look, these guys he was with. I'm gonna let you explain it all, man. I'll pull up the picture, Jimmy, and you tell me about this crew and everything.
This was the Beaumont Mafia. That was all the Italians of Beaumont,
Yeah.
Texas. There's a couple of the big ones. The one next to the short guy, that was the guy who played Bam Bam on American Gladiators. And then the one who's behind me is Michael Roccaforte.
Roccaforte. Maddie's neighborhood.
Yeah, from Maddie's neighborhood.
Howard Beach, Ozone Park. Yep.
Great guy. One of the best guys. One of the best guys I ever met.
I know. I've heard you speak very high.
And there's Jimmy up front.
Yeah, I was kind of yoked there.
Jimmy was looking Jimmy, man.
Jimmy's looking good, man.
Shit, but and now the dude Bam, he actually that's the guy. He looks like he has almost like a buzz cut.
Yeah.
The bigger dude to the left, the second guy. And he actually caught that case here in Houston, man. That dude did. But anyway, they so that was the crew there, huh? That was the crew there.
That's some
that
crew.
was the Italians there, and we did
Looks like a
everything
good
together.
crew.
We had the tables out there that we sat with. We'd have coffee every Saturday morning out at Rec. We'd have a meal every month, and it was just a good group. And then there was 5 of us who had our paperwork. Me and Rock, a couple other guys. So we would get together on our own on like a Sunday and talk about things that we might not want to talk about with the others. Because, you know, we knew everybody's crime and
everybody was clear.
Was the straight up ones.
Right,
so,
right.
But yeah, that was just a great group of guys, man.
Great crew there, huh? Now, one more thing, man. First of all, let me tell people this. Jimmy's going to be having huge stuff coming in the near future. There's going to be a lot of big stuff happening that we can't, nobody's going to talk about, but be on the lookout. But something that we did talk about on mine that I do. So did you get transferred to there because of your bookmaking at the time?
Yeah. I was up at the Low in Milan, Michigan, and I worked in Unicor, and I was a clerk in the warehouse on the computer. So a couple of the bookies on the compound asked me would I like to type their football tickets for them. I said, sure, you know. So I asked one of the bosses back there, is it okay if I do this? You know, I'm getting close to the door. I can make some money. And he says, yeah, it's fine. He goes, just if somebody comes back here, you know, change screens. So I'm kind of, you know, doing my football tickets. I got about 200 books of stamps in the ceiling. And a couple of the other clerks pissed dirty. So they shake the warehouse down. They find my stamps up there. They search my computer. They see the tickets. I get locked up under investigation. A couple weeks into it, the SIS lieutenant comes. And he's got a paper with him. And he says, I don't give a shit about the stamps. He goes, I don't care about the football tickets. He goes, I know what goes on in prison. He goes, I want to know what this paper is. And it was a paper that my guard printed off for me with all the updated lines.
Ah, shit.
And I said, I got that off Core Links. He goes, no, you didn't. I said, I could have found that anywhere in this warehouse. He goes, no, you didn't. He goes, it came off an officer's computer, and all I want to know is who. And I looked at him and I said, LT, if it was you that gave it to me, I wouldn't tell on you. He goes, hey, I can respect that, but we got to ship you because you compromise staff. So
damn, that's solid. Hey man, that's a good. Hey man, that's a solid guy right there.
Great job, unapologetic, my man.
Yes,
I'm telling you.
Good for you.
Yes,
good for you.
Jimmy,
Let me tell you, this was a lot of fun. It's an amazing story.
You know what's crazy is we haven't even scratched the surface.
No, I know.
It's not even. That's what I'm saying.
And I really like to keep it that way because Jim, I know in time you're going to be a regular with the crew. We're all going to have a corner. You, Maddie, Mikey. This is your home. Whenever you want it, your home is here, my brother.
Just don't forget us when you blow up. There you go.
Yeah, just bring change of 100.
Yeah,
that's right. Hey, you know what else, man? Everybody watching this, man. Hey, Craig, I ain't trying to hijack your show, bro. But you know what I want people to do, man?
We're a crew, brother.
I want people to go over here, man.
Yeah,
go subscribe,
absolutely.
Man. Go subscribe.
Absolutely.
We'll put a link in the description and all that stuff.
Yeah, once I learn how to do it, we'll drop the link all the time. Every time we do a show, Jimmy, you drop your link.
Yeah, man, because besides your other stuff, we're going to blow up your YouTube too, man, so you can bring other people on.
The show.
Guys,
go,
you
folks.
know. Yeah,
absolutely.
You know a lot of people, Jimmy. You met a lot of guys in there.
Drop the link.
Yeah.
And we're going to need them coming, Jim.
It's all
we need you, Jim. We need you. Listen, Mike, you got anything?
No, Jimmy, man, I just, hey, thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my brother.
I enjoyed it.
And, you know, we're going to talk. We got other stuff going on with OG. But OG's got a home here. We're everywhere, man.
I know. Man. I still think that game was rigged.
No, the game was rigged on his show, and I'm going to tell you something.
How the hell did you leave for half the show and still win?
And the Mafia board game police is looking for everybody.
You were gone for half the game.
Well,
do you want to know the worst part of it, Jimmy? You want to know the worst part of it? You want to know? You know who won the last game?
He did.
He won it, bro.
He was gone half the game.
No. Before that, I had a game before. I had a totally different drawing 6 months ago, Jimmy.
The fix was in.
Do you hear me, bro? And the dude, he wins, and he was the next guest I was having on anyway.
That's great.
Listen, I don't mess around with that. I swear to y'all,
man.
He might straight up. Do you know how bad that looks? I'm not even putting his name in there next time and he'll win. What the hell are you doing, Craig? You've compromised. Craig's compromised my family, man.
Absolutely.
Mike, I tell everybody, I ain't ever going to win your shit because I don't have any luck. I tell everybody, if it was raining vaginas, I'd get hit with a bag of dicks.
And we ended on that, baby.
Yo, and we end on that note. Jimmy, great talking. I love you, bud. We'll talk soon.